You're all set.
Thank you. Being that it's 4 o'clock, I'd like to welcome everybody to the public hearing for the 2020 rates and fees proposal. And as a matter of format, as in the past, Roman Greer will present as our director his recommendations, and then if there's any public comment, we would ask people to go to the microphone.
So everybody to come in?
Yeah.
Don't round them all up. Herding cats.
They're lined up outside.
I did say small.
You tried, John.
Okay, Roman, thank you.
Okay, so bear with me while I read here real fast. The rate and fee recommendation for 2020 is the same that I presented last week with just one minor edit. It's increase all membership fee categories except junior by $20 to be directed to the Golf Improvement Fund. This will increase individual member contribution to the Golf Improvement Fund to $95 per year and fund all projects currently included in the capital plan. In addition, consider an additional $25 increase to Chatham membership to be captured in the Golf Improvement Fund. And then the third recommended change would be to create a new category, collegiate, for $250. That would be for ages 24 and under, requiring a student ID in addition to a driver's license. This category would have full member status. The rationale of these recommendations is a competitive analysis of the Cape Golf market shows CV's rates are appropriate for its offerings. Greens fees are among the highest of our competition, as the high level of course conditions and golf experience that CV justifies. Annual pass membership fees are second lowest among the 5 municipal facilities on Cape. CV is the only 18-hole facility of this group, thus offering the fewest inventory of tee times. Financially, the golf operation reached a high water mark in revenue in FY19. The recommended increases of membership fees will ensure that the golf department can fund all projects currently on the capital plan. Creating a collegiate membership category will help fill a void where we can continue to keep the Harwich Golf community engaged with appropriate rates for age and availability. I'll show on the screen what it looks like. These are all our rates. The highlighted rates are the ones that are proposed to change.
In those projections, Roman, also that would speak to the issue of increasing commitments with the town as far as insurance is concerned, number of employees, et cetera.
I mean, yes, we would hit our projected revenue, I think, with those rates. Like I said, based on the same rates as last year, we hit a high water mark in revenue last year, and then these increases would fund our future projects.
Okay, excellent. Any questions within the committee?
Is it useful to just, in the abstract, say we've hit a high watermark, or would it be better if we included kind of a summary of the last year's revenue and the costs of direct costs and indirect costs?
Sure, I think I presented that this summer at the end of the fiscal year, but I can provide all that.
As part of this, I mean, just as a kind of an appendage to this, an addendum to show, because the key is that we're going up on these rates because we're fulfilling all of the capital requirements for all of the programs. So,
Right.
Does the Board of Selectmen ask any questions, or do they just take what you are?
They haven't in the past. They consider golf covers its
Yeah.
expenses.
They,
I mean, in general.
from time to time, you know, there's minor questions, Jack.
No, financially, though, they don't ask a lot of financial questions.
Right. Okay,
why are they highlighted, excuse me, why are those?
So I highlighted the.
because there's a change.
Those
Yeah,
are-
yeah.
That's what the proposed change is.
I was gonna say, last year, one of the selectmen, I believe it was a new selectman, I can't think who it was, raised the question about the Chatham rates.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Pete. And, you know, there really wasn't much discussion about it. But since then, you know, as we indicated at our last meeting, there's been discussion. And I think, you know, based on our vote as a committee, I think the sentiment that prevails where they may in fact embrace this recommendation.
That was Pete at the FinCom meeting when we were presenting our budget, and there was a pretty good discussion on that, and I brought it back to the golf committee, where the selectmen, it was a joint committee meeting between the FinCom and the selectmen, and the selectmen eventually said, bring this back to the golf committee for discussion. This is a golf committee discussion.
Right.
So, we've done our due diligence, I think. Okay, with Roman's presentation complete, are there any comments from the public? Okay, Roman, thank you very much. Since there are no comments, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn the open hearing on rates and fees for 2020.
Do we have to vote again to say that?
Yes,
We-
and then we're going to go, we're going to commence our special meeting.
So moved.
Okay. So it's been moved and seconded
Seconded.
by Martha. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And now I'd like to open our special meeting on rates and fees and some additional topics that, will round out the completion of this special meeting. So I'd entertain a motion based on the special hearing to adopt the rates and fees as proposed.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded by Tom Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Roman, thank you very much. I think this is very progressive, the fact that we've maintained our low number in terms of, when you consider all the other rates within the structure of rates and fees, the fact that our annual fee membership is one of the lowest in the area is commendable, and still be able to do what we do. So, this brings us to the old business at hand, and I know it's only been a week plus, seems like we were just here the other day, but as far as old business, remaining elements of the current capital project, and there is some news to share. There was a hearing, I'll let Roman share that with you, as far as the location
Yeah.
of our pole on Oak Street.
Unless there's
All these are baby steps, but they're necessary. Okay,
So,
thanks.
a public utility hearing was held at the town administrator's office on 10/30 at the request of Eversource to install a new 40-foot electric pole at the entrance to the golf course. As Clem said, it's a baby step of progress. They're preparing for the job of our interconnection. The selectmen approved the request on 11/4 at their meeting. The work order for electrical service upgrade was completed on 11/5, and we're expecting a work order response early this week to set up a site meeting and plan the work. So
And
that was a comprehensive, I have some slides from it, that was a comprehensive work order that includes all the solar projects, the whole full scope of the electrical upgrade occurring. So this is the work order. It puts the other one on hold that was just for the golf course upgraded service. This is the work order that includes the solar and Eversource's commitment to do the upgrade.
And you said the expectation is later this week that'll be
They said early this week. Kathy White said early this week. We hear the
perfect.
completion of the work order. And then we've been working with the town engineer to submit edits to the landscape plan to complete the site plan for the planning board. So Michael Curadosi will present at planning board this winter the edited landscape plan. They will include the plan of the solar project.
Okay. Are we actually scheduled with them, Roman?
Not yet for our side of the edits. The Green Sky submitted their plan this morning. I got Chris Clark to sign that. In fact, he's gonna sign it tomorrow. But it's the owner of the property. But we're gonna go in as a joint presentation with them. So I'm not sure if their application covered both. I'm gonna find that out though.
Yeah.
The engineer's submitting our information.
I'm just curious, because of this, is everything on hold landscape-wise?
Until we get the approval of the edits, yes.
Is there any way we can accelerate that? I mean,
We had a meeting Wednesday, and it's in the engineer's hands. I'll show you the edited plan he
Oh,
put together,
okay.
which has very small edits. He's gonna submit it, and like I said, the Green Skies plan is submitted. They wanna do the full site plan edits that include the
Yeah.
solar companies.
Because, you know what I mean, in the earlier part of the winter, it'd be great to get some of these things going, as opposed to being pushed out to the spring.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
I mean,
Who's responsible for developing the electrical service upgrade work plan?
Eversource.
So that means them putting electricity to bond.
Yeah, so I covered some of this last meeting, I think you were here, John. There's a line of demarcation that they determined. The town is responsible up into the pump house, and the solar company's taking it from the pump house and bringing it to the cart barn and to their solar fields. This work order that was just submitted, it covers the whole thing. Eversource has committed to the town that they're gonna do everything except the new transformer, which the town will have to pay for, not to exceed 50 grand.
So the 50 grand then is a marker versus the 250 that they were
Yeah.
talking about before?
Yeah, it's been negotiated down to,
And who's paying the 50, the town or?
it's out of our project budget, yeah.
It's what?
And so when's that?
Out of our
gonna-
project budget.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
And when's that gonna happen then?
So that's the work order I just discussed. The work order application was submitted, and we're supposed to hear back that the work order is complete early this week. We're gonna have a site meeting and plan the work, so,
Now, does that include putting in the units in the bond for the electric carts too?
no, separate deal. This is to bring the power to the barn and to the solar grid.
So where would that process kind of line up in terms of getting?
Yeah, so I've got that on,
units?
so that's a separate bid that has to go out, and that's in the hands of the town engineer right now. I met with him Wednesday on it, he's preparing to put the bid out for an electrician to come and do the electrical grid in the car barn.
Is that the guy we were talking about before? that-
He's one of them, we've got three on, I've gotten, the cart companies have given me 3 different names, because they wanted multiple bids.
because isn't the deal, under these procurement guidelines, there have to be multiple responses,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
and the person that we've engaged hasn't been super responsive, so I wouldn't want to rely on
Yeah.
one person.
Yeah.
So I've got 3 names of electricians that have done cart barns to the town engineer for the bid process. But that is separate.
You know, would our expectations be in the landscape plan that won't get done this year, that'll be next year?
The landscape plan, I think our expectations are early spring, as Clem was saying. I mean, I think as soon as we can break some ground in March. And then the paving aspects of it, I've got a slide on here next. The paving aspects of it would be in April,
Yeah.
when you can do paving.
Yeah, sorry for the dumb question, but the other dumb question I have, would our expectation be that we would have electricity in the cart barn ready to go, new carts come
That-
next year?
That's, I'm anxious about that. I think we're really close to not quite there. I mentioned this to Clem, that that was one of the meetings I had with the town administrator and the engineer. Some of this is a little out of our hands at this point, because that line of demarcation, Green Skies is in charge of doing the interconnection from the pump house to the building. That's on their dime, and that's their part of the job. But, we were talking about what kind of leverage we have. They seem like they're raring to go. I mean, they're gonna get this done as fast as they can. They've loosely mentioned spring they'd have it done. But when we get the work order and have the site meeting, we'll discuss more in depth with them. One idea that came out of our meeting on carts, because that's my primary concern, is, when are we entering into a cart lease? One idea that the town administrator had, just as a backup, because the easiest thing in the world would be to sign up for one more year of these Yamaha carts, which are really old, and I mean, they're not gonna make it another year. In that contract, we do have to start the season with that contract, there's a termination clause in the contract that written notice within 30 days. Either party can terminate the contract. So say we had to start the year, say, we got close to the spring and it looks like we're gonna have the power there May 15th, June 1st, whatever the date is, we could plan a cart lease process accordingly and have carts at least until that point. So we'll learn more when we have the site meeting, but I'm a little more comfortable with that as a secondary plan than saying, if we're not, because we would have to bring a car fleet in on March 15th, say, if we were gonna do a whole separate car fleet for the year. And it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like we will have full power at that point.
Should we prepare for that contingency? So, I mean, so that if, it sounds like there's a lot of stuff that has to happen, that we can't interrupt the golf game because we don't have the electricity in
Right.
some small thing. And secondly, since Chris Clark is leaving, where's the command authority that's going to ensure that this calendar stays firm?
Well, Chris Clark's still gonna be on board as a consultant, and he's assured us that he's still
He'll
leading this
stay on
project.
as a consultant.
Yeah, through the end of the fiscal year. And then, the town engineer is involved in this as well as the assistant town administrator. So, our team is still in place.
Earlier this week, Tom, I took the opportunity to speak to him personally, you know, after reading the fact that he was gonna leave, and, I mean, I think it's obvious, I was concerned about exactly the same thing. And he assured me, which was great, because I was afraid it would get, you know, stuck in limbo between the next hire, and if you go back, because you were on that search committee, I mean, that was a lengthy,
I don't do it twice. No.
yeah, that was a lengthy process. It wasn't done with great dispatch, I didn't think, but,
I just worry that we need a contingency plan that we're satisfied with, because there are so many bits and pieces of this thing with the different people and the different organizations. I'm not being critical, I'm just saying, you know, that a plan B that we can implement quickly and to ensure that this cuts and the golf will play golf.
So that's what I discussed with them on Wednesday, and I'm pretty confident that by next golf committee meeting, we'll have had this site meeting with Eversource and the Green Skies. We'll know a better idea of the timetable. And then, you know, I think that the secondary plan, if it turns out we're not gonna have electricity, is very easy. We sign an extension on the current lease, and just to cover the first month of the season, the first month and a half or 2 months of the season.
That doesn't have to go out for bid?
No, that's a built-in 1-year extension on the lease, so that'd be just a matter of the town administrator signing it. And then we'd have 30 days to terminate it at any point.
I gotta tell you the story when FDR was president and Joe Kennedy was the ambassador, and Joe Kennedy sent a note to the president of the United States, FDR, and said, as your consultant, I recommend you don't do this. He said, well, FDR sent it back, said, thank you. Since you're our consultant, if we want your advice, we'll ask for it. The point is that Chris, even though he's a consultant and aware of all this, doesn't have the authority anymore. He has the authority to recommend, so it's just a plan B, it's just a thought.
yeah. But as I said at the last meeting, Tom, I think, you know, looking at the December meeting, that's one thing that we can accomplish to more or less
Yeah.
give Roman the authority, you know, as far as the committee's concerned, an endorsement for
And
a
also
Plan A.
push for tentative dates when the various things are going to be
Right.
Yeah.
accomplished, so
Right.
that we can at least plan sensibly. That's all.
Roman, can we ask some questions about the other
Yep.
things?
I haven't even gone through
Or
it
do
yet.
you want to,
I'll just read them off
I
real fast. and then
didn't mean to
questions
interrupt
fine.
you.
So currently scheduled is the fuel pad and tank install and the slab floor protect. When the course is closed, we're planning on do that at the end of this month. And Sean's got dates with the fuel pad and the tank install. We've already been through the procurement process. We're ready to go with those.
Hallelujah.
What's currently in the hands of the procurement team, as I mentioned to John, is the charger grid. And then items to be addressed next, once we get through these, are the wash station, the reskin, and lighting and security.
In the hands of the procurement team, the charger grid issue, are they sensitive to the fact that if we get, you know, these go-aheads from Eversource, that, you know what I mean, John? It's imperative that
The
we,
meeting Wednesday was go to bid. Let's build the grid. Let's have the grid built so that when the interconnection happens, we already have the grid built.
Who's on the procurement team?
It's the assistant town administrator, Joe Powers, and the town engineer, Griffin Ryder.
and Joe Powers is
The two of them are the town's prudent procurement team. So everything goes to them. Everything Sean and I are procuring, we present to them, and then they put out the bids.
excellent. Okay.
So I'll show you some, this is very simple, but this is the edits the town engineer made to the plan, I'm sorry, my mouse didn't show up. The extra parking places, the top right one he cut out, he found it to be dangerous, and he just, recommended adding some radius to a few of the corners. Very simple, that's all been brought back to our landscape architect to be included in the plan we're gonna present to planning board.
So you've taken out those parking
One
places?
parking place, the one on the far
Oh,
right.
just one?
Just that one, he thought that was a little dangerous.
Roman, it's kind of going backwards maybe on my part, but it's just a question. Did they address any of the issues as far as lighting in the parking lot's concerned?
Nothing, as far as the edits, there were light posts on the original
Okay.
plan.
Yeah. That's,
And then
I just want to make sure
the little,
that's,
the walkway with the steps have
Yeah.
a little lighting on that too, highlight lighting.
and because we talked about it, security cameras as well,
Yep.
yeah, in that
When
plan,
we get electricity to the building, that's very easy to add. That's
yeah,
low cost and easy
Yeah.
to add.
yeah.
Roman, in the drawing, is the dotted area of the, whatever you call it, in the middle,
Yep.
is that the current island that's there?
The dotted area, like right here.
No,
No.
I'm talking about up.
Up
Yeah,
further.
that-
Oh, here,
yeah.
that's the current border of the island, so we're gonna
That's
cut
the
that part of the island out, create all cart staging there.
And aren't there a lot of trees and stuff
Yeah,
there?
it says right on the plan there, get rid of the pines.
You know,
And then
Roman,
if you see, this is the current back border of the island, so the island would extend south.
I think they're gonna put the golf carts
Roman, it's a
there.
digression of sorts, but you mentioned the magic four-letter word there, trees. Has there been any more discussion about a commercial grade stump grinder being purchased?
Not on our level. I mean, I know the town's highway director presented to the selectmen, and our golf department was part of one of the departments that was gonna go in thirds on it.
Yeah.
And our commitment's still there, that out of our budget, we would pay a third for it.
I'd be very interested in
They-
where
they
that
wanted-
is because,
What's that, John?
They haven't bought it yet?
No,
No.
the selectmen declined it. They wanted to go to town meeting.
I mean, it's my
Why is
humble
that?
perception, you guys are up there all the time, but
They thought it should have been a town meeting item.
the tree removal has been exceptional.
Great
There's
idea.
no doubt
And
about it.
when the presentation that Link Cooper made
Stumps?
included
But the stumps
hundreds,
are all over
over
town.
$100,000 in savings to
know.
buy this, as opposed to contracting it out. According to the meeting I saw with the selectmen, they said, don't buy the stump grinder, don't contract for stump grinding, don't do anything until town meeting.
Roman, just
Unbelievable.
It's amazing how-
Unbelievable.
in the island in the middle,
Yep,
there's a circle at the bottom. Looks like trees, I assume.
yep.
That's
right
gonna,
here.
no, I'm sorry, to your left.
This.
That,
Okay.
if you put that there and you narrow that parking lot, that's how all the big trucks back into that, hot stove area.
Right.
And you're taking, so I mean, they're gonna be coming, it would seem like they're gonna be coming pretty close to those parked cars.
They've got the measurements. That was one of the big concerns, and the town engineer did the measurements. That's why you put this notice in here to add a 10-foot radius there. But he did all the measurements and said it'd be
Okay.
adequate.
It just seems like you're moving the island further down,
Right.
and that's, I know that's how all the big trucks have to back into, Ron's
I agree.
driveway.
Yeah.
One of the nice things, though, that when we presented this is, it's really gonna be traffic here, golfers here. There's really gonna be, we're gonna separate the traffic from the golfers, which is a nice safety issue.
Yeah, I think it's excellent.
Yeah, I think that's great, it's just the,
Is,
I mean, at some point, they'll figure it out, Jack. They don't need to back in. They can park out in the parking lot and bring the stuff up. I mean, it's not as efficient for them, but, there is the adequate radius there.
okay.
Roman, just curious, is this redo of the plan, was this within the original scope of Mr. Cardosi's contract, or is this additional?
Additional,
Additional?
yeah.
Okay.
You know, by not having a stump grinder, how's that gonna impact us in making sure that we clean up the trees before I mean, obviously, I'm sure the expectation was to get a lot of those stumps done this winter.
Yeah. We're gonna contract with with the tree company as usual. We have 35
Yeah.
grand in the warrant article. And also, there's still a stump grinder owned by the town that's just not a commercial grade
Yeah.
stump grinder. So we will still have access to the stump grinder we used a few years ago that we took care of 150
Yeah.
stumps or so with. So it's just not a commercial grade stump grinder, so It's not heavy duty.
But as Martha pointed out, I mean, it's not just us. There's so many areas within the town, I don't understand their reluctance to not engage. Because money spent, as you well know, when you get out there and hire contractors, you're paying through the nose. Because those guys aren't gonna, I mean, they have to adhere to certain levels, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, prevailing wage.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas if we had a stump grinder in-house, I mean, last time our assistant superintendent, Rob Donovan, drove it.
But I think after they, rejected the Lower County upgrade, I think they're very sensitive about spending money.
Yeah.
I mean, the town, they voted it down, so I think they're very sensitive about spending money right now. I don't know whether you'd agree.
Yeah, I agree. The town meeting last year was, I think it was a surprise to everybody, the objection to the money the town was spending. And I know we've talked about it in the capital outlay
Yeah.
committee. We don't know what's gonna happen this year.
Right.
We're gonna be better prepared to answer, I know that, but we just don't know what the audience is gonna be.
Yeah.
It was a different audience last year.
Okay.
So it's not like we're talking about $5 million investment.
Right.
We're talking
That's the whole point.
$75,000?
Now, how
Oh,
much is-
no.
How much is
No.
that grinder?
Stump grinder, I can't remember. It was,
I thought it was in the $20,000.
no,
I think it was like 50
Well, I
to
bet it's
75.
been with that.
Oh, was it? Oh,
our golf department committed, I think, 23,000 towards paying a third of it.
So it was over
Understood.
50,000.
It was over
yeah,
50.
Yeah, that's-
okay. That's
That's a big.
the break point.
Yeah.
All right, real fast, I'll show you a couple things here. The top, slide on the top, these are all from the work order that was presented to Eversource and put together by the Pure Power engineers who were hired by our solar company. The top left slide, the bottom polygon here, right here, that's the new utility transformer that the town is paying for. So that's the one thing we're paying for. Once again, kudos to Chris Clark for negotiating that whole big $300,000 job down to that one item is what we're on the hook for. The top right slide is showing a little access road into the solar field they're gonna have, and it shows that there are interconnections there. And then I just did a couple slides out here. This is the bump out in the new car barn, and this is where the electrical panel is gonna be. I just thought that was really well designed. It turns out the solar company said somebody was thinking when they designed this bump out, because we need this nice electrical room. That's where the interconnection is gonna happen. And then I just have some slides here. This is all in regard to the new pole that just shows the public hearing. Here's the entrance to the golf course. There's the new pole. Not that it's anything exciting, but I put it on there because it's progress. It shows Eversource is spending money and investing in our property.
And how are they going from the pole? Are they going underground or are they going?
That's all going to be part of the work order. I don't know, they're going to say they're paying for it, so we'll see. But underground, I think, is required by our planning board.
I think, Jack, I think that was the understanding, you know. And I'm excited about the pole because anybody's welcome to come down to South Street. During the tornado, the pole opposite my house that had a transformer, past tense, on it, it blew up and almost landed in my yard. And the answer to that problem was put a new pole in and take.
I've seen
You've
it.
seen it.
That's
It's like
what they
it's
were
like
gonna
taking
do
your
on
belt.
Lover's Lane.
It's like taking your belt
I
off
couldn't believe it.
and wrapping it around the broken pole,
Yeah,
and then they wrapped it around the new pole, and it's hanging
and it's
there.
hanging there.
Got one of those near my house.
They did that to Lover's Lane when it fell over on the street. And they took the top part, and thank God,
Yeah.
they took it down and did it right.
I mean, maybe that's state of the art, but I don't know.
I'll share with you when I think it's one interesting thing of this work order is how they're going to do it, because now that Eversource has committed to paying for it, I don't expect it to be the soup to nuts plan they
Hey.
presented for us to pay for.
As long as it works.
They may do an overland run through the woods, and then they even discussed a line going through our irrigation pond on the ground. We'll see, they're paying for
Yeah.
it, so.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Good enough.
And that's what I had.
Okay, So that brings us to the water containment washdown pad and plant solutions. I just put this in, folks, for a look at the future in a sense. It's the last element probably of the project, but Sean Fernandez mentioned this Dr. Rossi, who's associated with Cornell University, and that will require contracting his services. Just in a mini way, if you want to, Roman, just expound on this guy's.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're not
Possible.
looking at him necessarily for the washdown pad, but we will, I think he will be able to comment on it, because he's comments on everything environmental for golf. Our plan was to retain him as a consultant for our herbicide and pesticide usage and our overall spray plan on the golf course. And I think that, as I mentioned in a previous meeting, if we work with him on a report to lessen our herbicide pesticide usage and use more organics, this document will be the application for Audubon. This is exactly what Audubon wants from us. They
Right.
want us to lessen our footprint.
Where are we on that?
Well,
I've talked to Sean so many
This is
times
it. This
about
is it.
this is it.
This is it.
This is it?
Dr. Rossi is the way we get there.
This is, he's the fast track to
Good.
Audubon certification.
That's great.
As a second option,
So,
yeah,
we're talking two things then. We're talking this guy from Cornell to help us with the fertilizer, the
Right.
pesticides,
Right,
in terms of the
right.
maintenance program.
Right,
Then we're talking about the wash pad,
right,
and then we're talking about the USGA.
right.
yeah. We'll take them in order.
So I can tell you real fast, Sean's scheduling Dr. Rossi for this spring, and then I already submitted with the USGA Consulting Services for an agronomist to come in the new fiscal year in July or August. So we'll have both of them on the calendar for this.
And I-
Why
the
do
20
we feel the guy from Cornell is the right guy?
You know, he's, because he's been on the Cape working with the Barnstable golf courses, Sean met with him there and did a lot of research. He seems like the right guy. I mean, he just seems like the leading mind there. He's available to us, and Sean was very impressed with the program he wrote for Barnstable.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have a talk with him first, and I mean, it connects what we were just talking about with Audubon. This is what Audubon requires.
It'll be, I think,
I know everybody on the committee's wanted Audubon. Audubon's not just gonna give us a stamp for filling out some paperwork. They wanna see reductions in pesticide use and herbicide use. That's what we need to plan, we need to plan with that. They wanna see less projects and more, more taking care of the environment.
and as far as that washdown pad is concerned, I mean, it's kind of a shout out to, I went over to see him, Bob Kingsbury, because he supplied the committee with the original documentation on the University of Massachusetts at Stockbridge, their pilot program on, water containment system. I contacted directly this Leslie Spocus, and she was very enthusiastic about our project. They were contracted by 2 different golf operations. I didn't get in the weeds on that as far as, which ones they were, because I think she was a little embarrassed. They contracted them to do a design study and then never did anything. So I said, we have written this into our capital plan. I said, it's certainly not a guarantee, but, we would love to talk to you. Her associate is in Portugal on a sabbatical. So she was kind of left holding the farm, so to speak, or holding things down. She got back to me yesterday, and she is going to forward to me a PowerPoint presentation that she's used, Roman, when she's been invited to speak and, engage communities about this pilot project that they have. So as soon as I get that, I'll forward it to everybody. And that'll give you a little bit of preparation, for our next meeting. And it might be a possibility. I think the knowledge is a good thing. Yes, Tom.
So we're bringing this fellow in because this is the last step in the Audubon process. Well, it'll be useful for us because people will be asking about this. What is it we want to do? Well, we want to make sure that whatever we've done is brought us into this. We've been at this for
Right.
5 or 6 years. Number 2, what's getting in the way? We don't really know. This fellow's going to help us, right?
Exactly.
That you need to
Exactly.
do this, you need to do that. And then we need a plan to get that, and then what will it look like when it's done? It really kind of is a planning model. So
Mhm.
this fellow's coming in as kind of an advisor, an expert,
Yeah.
give us information. So you're not signing a contract with him until we understand what it is he's gonna do.
Exactly. And particular to the USGA visit, I'll say it from my perspective, the various town committees, the selectmen in general, this has been an enormous plus for the golf committee to engage them. And that's why I appreciate the fact that Roman has gone forward with that, because I think it's the best PR we've ever harvested on our behalf. People seem to associate that with a very progressive, positive thing. Would you
I agree.
agree,
I've been there.
Peter?
I agree.
Yeah.
I think doing every other year is important though, because, you know, when we met with Jim
Yeah.
before, by the time we have a chance to
We
implement
were
any changes.
chasing our tail.
You end up,
Yeah.
he says it still looks the same, you haven't had a chance yet to implement anything.
And it's a humble suggestion, you know, perhaps the committee would endorse it, but if you look out in the capital plan, and you remember this, Pete, we put a lot of attention and focus on enhanced irrigation, coming up, replacing heads and so on. And in particular, you know, rather than this guy just coming in and looking at the turf and so on, I'd kind of like to suggest that we'd love to know, you know, share with you or have them share with us the latest and greatest as far as irrigation technology is concerned too. Because there might even be some things that, you know, Sean's not aware of, that are already in test programs out west, you know, or in different locations. Because they do a lot of field studies that way. And especially when we had that, you know, report where we had the transponders and, you know what I mean, as far as management of water resources and everything, that all fits together, Tom, with fertilization applications and, you know, that kind of management concept. So,
If I could just say,
yeah,
when we had the tornadoes go through, we had no damage, tree damage to any green.
Right.
And, you know, some years ago, I did a 10-year analysis of the USGA recommendations. And it was heavy into, let your greens breathe, let the greens get the sun. So therefore, you have to remove trees around them. So the unintended consequence of that is we didn't have any damage during a tornado.
That was very
I
important.
mean, the whole notion of bringing them in gives us more information that we
Yeah.
would have if we did not bring them in. So
I think it's no doubt,
it's a good thing to
no
do.
doubt about it, we want to keep that practice going.
and it actually amplifies on the positive things that Sean has done, you know, in relationship to those recommendations.
Absolutely, I agree.
Any other comments? Any other points of discussion?
I think,
Looking toward the December meeting especially,
well,
John.
number one, I think, looking to the future, I think the pesticide thing is gonna be something that the state is gonna probably start mandating pretty soon.
Yeah.
And, I would like to, if we bring this guy in from Cornell for some type of analysis, it would be good to see where he's been before, because Martha's Vineyard's been through this, that private one.
He
Exactly.
did the Martha's Vineyard
The
courses.
Vineyard
and he's done
Club,
the
right?
Beth Page courses.
Okay,
Wow.
so, if he was to come in here, do you have any idea what his cost would be?
No, what we're looking at is really, what I'm hoping to do, we have each year in the budget, the money for the USGA, we've chosen to do that every other year. So I was hoping it'd be a half-day consult, just like we do with USGA, to help us design a, application plan for the golf course.
My only other, comment would be that if we've got, with the wash pad, which we have to get done probably next spring at the latest, right?
The way we've been treating it as far as this project goes is wait to get what's currently on the list to do, just to make sure the finances are good, because I'd hate to extend ourselves. Right now, there's $20,000 in the project budget to address the water containment system, and the budget's tight. So, I mean, while we're doing this transformer and the landscape aspects, I wouldn't go ahead and, you know, we're holding off on the reskin, and we're
I
holding
thought it
off.
was more than 20,000 in the budget.
It's been reduced because of the number Sean got for the UMass project.
Okay.
But there is contingency money in the project.
My only thought on that would be that I would think that we should go the extra effort to probably get somebody from UMass to participate in that, just being a state university too, rather than going outside the state. I would think it would show some type of good form
Okay.
Solidarity.
by maintaining some type of state connection there.
With the pesticide and
No,
herbicide?
no, with the wash pad.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Now, with the pesticide, God knows, I mean, if Cornell has a guy that's really involved in this, I'm sure UMass does too.
Right.
So, I don't know.
I think that's an important point, John. And especially, you know, if you look at Stockbridge and the way it's been a feeder to green superintendents, you know, throughout the Northeast, you know,
Yeah.
so,
Include ours, Sean.
good enough. Huh?
Include ours, Sean.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay,
I
folks.
guess I'm confused. Are you suggesting, are you just identifying options, or are you
Yeah,
looking for
just-
recommendations to?
Well,
Pick one.
it, eventually, I think Jack obviously will make a recommendation, but, you know, I just wanted to try to isolate these three initiatives, because they all fit into, I think, a general plan, so.
Now, see, when the Cornell guy was brought up before, was
Yeah.
unexplained that, what you just explained today.
Yeah, yeah.
He was explained as being an option to the, option two there in terms of the wash pad versus the UMass project.
I didn't bring him up that way. I've always considered him to help us design a spray plan for
Yeah,
application of the
but I mean,
golf
the
course.
first time it was brought up, you were not here.
Oh, I got you, okay. I didn't hear that.
And so,
I've never considered him part of the water containment idea.
okay, fine, that's how it was presented the
Okay.
first time. That's why,
I got you. I was confused on why it was like this in the agenda as well.
So this is informational, we don't have to vote on this.
Oh, no. That's why I wanted to present it now, you know, and as I said, you know, if you do a Boolean Google search, both of these guys, there's a lot of information. I didn't want to torture you with 10 pages of printouts.
well, there is a new guy that's taking over for Swarovski, right?
Right. I forget his last name, John, but I believe it's McDermott, but he's, you know, very creditable guy, so that'll be interesting. Okay. With no further business?
You know, are you working with an intern during the year, or is it just summer? You know, the kids who want to understand. how-
Only in the summer.
Just the summer?
Yeah.
Because this is an extraordinary case study in my mind, you know, how we started with this thing, and then Eversource getting involved, and, you know, and Sean with his ability to kind of magically do what he does, and on and on and on. And then suddenly Eversource now has become my best friend. And now, you know, I mean, this whole thing.
We want to keep it that way.
Yeah.
No, it's an interesting
Yeah.
case study
It is.
about how the dynamics of these things can change.
I don't think we wanna put that in writing, though.
Well, at least the effects of it could be put in writing, not what caused it to happen, you know what I mean? But it's a great story in my mind.
I hope it has a happy ending and we can tell it as a great
Yeah.
story, yeah.
Right.
Well, we used to get criticized, remember Pete Watson? I mean, Pete would come in here with the shots and say, you guys, you know, the town is paying for this, and well, but now self-sufficient. Self-sufficient now. You know, it's extraordinary. So anyway.
So can I announce real fast about the clinic that we're gonna have next year?
What's that?
Can I announce about the clinic we're gonna have?
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
want to
for
slide on
sure.
this, so it's
for
on the
sure.
agenda. It's a highlight of next year. This gentleman, Dennis Walters, who's a member of the World Golf Hall of Fame, he's was crippled in a golf cart accident years ago. He used to be a pro tour golfer, played with Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus. All these guys give testimonials to him, Tiger Woods, everybody. He's been a great golf development individual, travels the country giving clinics, and he uses an adaptive cart because he has no use of his legs. And due to all of our golf initiatives we do at the golf course, he's in our area for August next year. Titleist he costs about $2,500 a year, a day to have a clinic. And due to all of our golf initiatives, he called and said Titleist is sponsoring 3 clinics for him to offer to golf courses for free, and he wants to do one at Cranberry Valley. So this could be a
Isn't that
highlight
great?
of our year next year. So he wants us to pick a date. He wants at least 100 participants at the clinic, and I think we can easily get that in a date in August.
Yeah.
So we're going over dates with them currently to do a big clinic at the driving range at Cranberry Valley.
Do you think Jerry would, the salute military golf?
They already have a relationship with him. So the first thing I was gonna say was invite them.
Guys that come down
Yeah.
with this.
He already does clinics for them,
And
so.
also the kids with the golf teams, to invite them into, just to have them understand the complexity of this,
Right.
how it works.
He was a national ambassador for the First Tee for 10 years or so he's already, that's one of the reasons, our new First Tee program is one of the reasons that he's gonna come.
Can you give us an update on where we stand with that for next year? for the
Yeah,
Thursday?
so we just completed the soft opening, which was Monomoy only. Going into next year, next spring, we're open to all. And I haven't heard the specifics yet of dates and how many programs. I'll work with Kyle Harris in the off-season to work that out, but the first season was definitely a success. We had 30 kids from the Monomoy Middle School, which was a great number, and we'll see how it should grow when we open it up.
Now, when they have a program like that during the summer, is it like 2 or 3 days a week, or is it every day?
Their programs are normally 3 days a week.
3 days a week.
Yeah.
And is Kyle responsible for getting the help to do all the teaching?
He gets all the instructors. He does all. The only thing I'm doing for us is coordinating the facility, either making them tee times, reserving the short game area, or reserving the teaching tee.
Okay.
He's in charge of paying the instructors and securing the instructors.
Is there a
So
way?
Cape Town
Okay.
will have a couple locations, right?
Yeah. It'll be.
Hyannis
This will be the
plus-
second location.
I think that is absolutely terrific.
Is there a way for us to get more press for this and more
I think, you
sidelines
know-
for this? I think it's a major step forward, and it
I
would be
think
nice
so.
if it was acknowledged that.
I think so, Steve. I think we just had, this was a soft opening. They wanted to kind of keep it that way. When it opens to the general public, I think so, definitely. I think next year may be a year to highlight the program.
Yeah.
I know there's quite a bit
Excellent.
of publicity on Mass Golf website,
Yeah, there
Yeah.
is.
but I don't know how many people look into that every day.
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to see how many kids we get
Yeah.
outside Monomoy next year and see how much the program's grown, and those are the kind of things we'd want to highlight.
Yeah. Well, with a lot of exciting things going on next year, including that, Mass Junior Boys Championship, which we'll be hosting, barring any tornadic activity.
Is there an age limit for the first tee?
Yeah, 17, 18 maybe, maybe 18.
I mean, are you gonna notify like all the golf teams and the school systems in the area?
Yeah, the First Tee does all that promotion,
Oh,
but
they
they
do
will.
that?
They do. First Tee Mass, yeah.
Okay,
If it works, it's a great feeder system.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yes.
And and
Yes.
what our goal is that it just continues to grow, and our 3-hole complex, it becomes the First Tee links.
Yeah.
It's a natural, and it doesn't impact our big golf course at all. Tee times go on our big course, and we have a unlimited golf development program on our short course.
Yeah. That would
And-
be big time.
And not only with the short
You would
course,
get national recognition on that.
Yeah.
yeah, not
And
only,
there's a lot of grants going towards things like that. So, I mean, there is a chance that this could be funded by grants.
and I had spoken to Roman about this too. The beauty of doing what we're doing down the road regarding this junior course is do not lose sight of the fact that we're getting involved with the construction of that putting complex as well, which adds another dimension to the whole project. And as opposed to, building something that's going to open next week or next year, I mean, we have the luxury, we can do one hole at a time. We may be able to use, interdepartment highway, whatever, as far as some of the rough construction's concerned. So there's a lot of flexibility as far as execution and pricing. Because I think a lot of people, Jack, would say, what the hell are you spending money for on this if it's not going to turn back, which is kind of, narrow-minded, but,
I heard from Clem from the
Yep.
Wadsworth Charities that as their Links Across America program, that this is exactly the kind of program they're looking for, and they fund the entire construction
Wow.
if you're approved by them.
That's great news.
And they're a
I mean,
golf construction
yeah.
company,
yeah.
Where are you targeting to
Yeah.
locate the course?
between holes 14 and 18.
How are they gonna get there?
Off the back of the clubhouse. So we'd have the idea, well, it would have to be designed first, but the general idea is they'd walk off the back porch of the clubhouse or around the clubhouse, and there'd be an entrance to the left side of the 18th green.
You know,
And
when
that's
we
where,
went to,
what I envisioned, that's
yeah.
where the putting green would be over there,
yeah,
and then the holes would be beyond it.
when we went down there too, it's very self-contained. Remember that? Or the people that we walked it with Rob and Sean and
Yeah. Mark Mungin.
Mark Mungin, and it's interesting. You know, because it's a good point. You don't want it interfering with regular play, et cetera. But
Hey, another question, you know what, a couple of meetings ago, we had a discussion, one was a sump grinder, number two was that they were taking a certain percentage of our golf improvement budget funds to help towards the damage that was done in the tornado.
Right.
Do we have a dollar amount on that, or?
No, not yet. I know the state approved a supplementary budget to compensate the towns for the damage. It hasn't come our way yet. I haven't seen any of that yet. I know that I've worked with an insurance adjuster on lost revenue, and they submitted for about $130,000 in lost revenue for us. But no, we haven't seen any of those funds yet.
it'll be interesting, maybe by the December meeting, John. That might be a possibility.
Well, you would think if we get some money from the state too, we could buy a commercial grade sump grinder. On the town meeting.
It doesn't work that way, Joe. It has to go into the general fund.
Can't we write a letter to Santa? I mean, you know, it's almost the Christmas season.
Clem, before you
yes.
get started, it's a thought I had to integrate somehow the high school golf guys, men and women, with our veterans program. You know, we have it in May every year.
Yes.
To think about inviting, have the coaches recommend some of those folks that who.
Good idea, Tom.
Well, the thing for me is for them to be in the company of these veterans, for them would be extraordinary, in the same way as the singers sing the Star Spangled Banner.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
Around the date where we have the event, the spring is the girls' golf season. Their season will just be coming to an end. But the same coach and Monomoy coaches both girls and boys.
Boys and girls,
can
I
find
mean, it's immaterial to
Yeah.
the youngsters, just to be in the company of these guys.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Extraordinary in my.
I know, knowing the SLU military guys, they would enjoy playing with the,
Oh, it's, I
high
think
school.
the guys would love it too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
What's the date of our next meeting?
I scheduled the next meeting, people, for the 10th of December. I moved it up purposely, Martha, because
That's fine,
I felt, you know, when you get up to the 17th, that's next week, it bleeds into Christmas itself.
Right.
And some people might be away, et cetera.